1, 2. Good afternoon and welcome. Glad you could all be here today. So let's get started talking about useful Mac tips. This is brought to you by GoFor Technology, and it is Go for Lunch for August 26, 2025. I'm Roger Harmon, your host, and we're here to make your technology work for you. So today is Create Your Own Luck Day, and I thought this was a nice quote from Bruce Lee. You have to create your own luck. You have to be aware of the opportunities around you and take advantage of them. So, words of wisdom on National Create Your Luck Day. So let's talk about useful Mac tips. There are a lot of tips and tricks hidden in the Mac operating system. Apple doesn't publicize these, and so it takes some digging to find them, and that's what we're going to do today, and hopefully they will be useful for you. Hello, Chris. So let's start with Command Tab. This is a technique that I use every day, and what it does is it cycles through all of your open applications. You do it by hitting the Command key and holding down the Command key and tapping on the tilde key, and that will go in the opposite direction, and Command Tab will go in the forward direction. So let's see how that works. Let's go into our Finder as we get in here and get rid of this little window that keeps popping up. So I'm going to hold down my Command key and hit Tab. And there's all of the applications I have open. As I hit the Tab key again, it moves to the next application. If I hit the tilde key, which is right above the Command key, you're going to go the opposite direction. And if I start from the first app and go hit the tilde key, it'll go to the end and start over again. So that's very helpful. And then when you let go, it goes to whatever app you were on at the time. And you can go back here and let go, you go to another app, and so that's the way that works. We're going to quit that one, Command Q. In Safari, you can hit Command tilde to cycle through your open windows. You can also hit Command and any of the numbers between 1 and 9 to open up tabs. So let's see how that works. So here we are in the Safari app. So I'm going to hit Command and the tilde, and you see it cycles through the windows. So here's a window with 6 tabs open. So if I hit Command 2, it goes to the second tab. I hit Command 5, it goes to the 5th tab. Hit Command 1, and it goes to the first tab. So that's very useful. And I can see here that my Safari is not showing me the upper part here where I can close it or minimize it. So we'll just leave that alone. There are some keyboard shortcuts in YouTube. J will go back 10 seconds. L will go forward 10 seconds. And K or the space bar will pause. And K or the space bar will resume. So let's go into Safari. Let's go back here. So going over this again, YouTube keyboard shortcuts, J to go back 10 seconds, L to go forward 10 seconds, K or the space bar to pause, and K or the space bar to resume. So now let's go back to Safari and let's hit Command tilde to go to a YouTube video. There we are. So now I'm going to play the video. Tracking card. So I'm going to hit J, do a little unboxing here. Way as an AirTag here, and it's going backwards. So this is a GoFor Tech. I'm going to hit L, tracking card, and it goes forward 10 seconds. I'm going to hit K, and it stops. And then I'm going to hit K again, and you'll notice it starts. It is, and I'm going to hit the space bar. It pauses, and I hit the space bar in, and it resumes. So there are other. So that's how that works. So you can drag a URL into the favorites bar. So the URL, of course, is the address of a website. And you also, once you drag it into the favorites bar, you want to make it as short as possible. And the way you do that is you right click and you go to rename. And the reason you want to make it as short as possible is because it creates more room so you can have more favorites up there. So let's see how that works. So we're going to go back to Safari. And here we are. So let's take this URL here, click on it, and just drag it down here into the space bar. And there it is. So now you can either click on rename, or actually, since it's highlighted here, you can just go in and make it smaller. Actually, I made it too small, so we're just going to put in YouTube here. I have a keyboard shortcut for that. And there it is. So we have the same thing right here, so we want to get rid of this. So now we're going to hit the right click and go down to delete. And now it's gone. So that way you can put in an additional favorite, but you can see here I have all my favorite names as short as possible so I can get as many in the favorites bar as possible. And of course, when you expand the window over, you get more. But this little arrow here shows that actually I have even more that won't fit in the favorites bar in the window. So that's real interesting. Picture in picture, also known as PIP in YouTube. And to do that, you right click on the video. That brings up the YouTube options. Then you right click again, and that brings up the Safari options. Then you select enter picture in picture. So once you do that, the picture will click into one of the corners. So it'll automatically go into a corner. But if you want to put it someplace else, you hold down the command key and you move the window and it will stay wherever you put it. So let's see how that works. As we go back into Safari, here's our YouTube video. So we're going to right click. That brings up the YouTube options. We're going to right click again. That brings up the Safari options, and then you click on Enter Picture in Picture, and it snaps up to the upper left hand corner. Now it goes to the upper right hand corner, lower left hand corner, and the lower right hand corner, lower left hand corner. However, if I hold down the command key and then I drag it, it will go anywhere. So I'm going to hold down the command key and let go of the command key, and it stays there. So one use for this is you could put it right here up next to your camera, and as you're on a Zoom call, you could be watching a video. Not that I'd ever do that, but you could do that. And then when you're done, you can click on the X in the upper left hand corner and it will go away. But I want to show you something else here. It will work with any application, not just Safari. So when I go back to Keynote, you can see the picture in picture is still there. So it will work with any application. But now it's time to go. The reader view in Safari will hide ads and just show your text. They have another feature that is called hide distracting items. Now it is a little more manually intensive because you have to click on the items that are distracting you before they disappear. So let's look again at Safari. So we're through with this. We can do here's a keyboard shortcut, Command W, gets rid of the window. So here we are at USA Today. So we go up here and we click on the little eyeball. Okay, here we go. So we click on the little rectangle with the two horizontal lines right up here. And then we can go into reader mode. So you can see here we've got ads over here, down here. So if we click on reader mode, the ads go away and you have just your text without any distractions. So the other thing you can do, so we're going to hide reader mode. And now when we go back to the same little rectangle with the two horizontal lines up here on the left of the search field, we can go to hide distracting items. Now when we click on a distracting item, you can see we get a blue border and poof, it's gone. Poof, it's gone. Poof, it's gone. Poof, poof. So you get the idea. But of course you have to click on each distracting item to make that work. So we're going to hit Command W to get rid of that. And you can add weather to the menu bar, especially helpful during this monsoon season. You do that by going to Settings, then Control Center, Then you scroll all the way down to weather and you select show in menu bar. So let's go into settings. And so we're down here. We've selected control center. And it comes up here at the top. You'll also notice here that there's lots of different things you can include or exclude from the menu bar. So if you're wondering where you do that, it's a little different than it used to be. It's all right here in control center. But to get to the weather, you have to scroll down to the bottom. And here we see weather. And then here, over here, you select show in menu bar. Now when we go to the Finder, this will be a little hard to see. But right up here, you can probably see this, hardly see this actually. It says 89 degrees Fahrenheit and it has a dark cloud, which means it's cloudy. So you click on that and then you get a bigger temperature, 89 degrees, mostly cloudy. There's our dark cloud again. High of 90 and a low of 73. And then you also get the next 5 hours of forecast. You can see here we have cloudy, 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 sunny, sunny. So actually a little while ago when I checked this, it said 15% and then 10% of chance of rain on at 3 o'clock. But apparently that is gone. And then down here you have the other cities that you've added to your weather app. And then if you want to open the weather app, you just click on open weather and there it is. So you get all your details. You can see here we've got some rain down to the southeast, but it looks like it's not going to make it up to the metro area. And again, we'll do a Command Q to quit and go back to our presentation. So that's how you can put weather in your menu bar. That brings us to questions. So if you haven't already, please put your questions in the appropriate area, the comments section on YouTube. Zoom has been updated, Zoom Workplace to version 6.5.11. So check and make sure that updated, and if not, go ahead and manually update it. And do me a favor and share the GoFor Gazette, which comes to you every Monday morning at 7 o'clock, with anybody you know that uses Apple devices. So here we are, and let's get the comments over here. And see what you have to say. Hi, Gretchen. And Chris says, OMG, I wanted to do that forever in Safari. Well, bravo to you too, Chris. And Bob says, I like the summarize button in Safari's reader bar too. I use it often. So you may have noticed that it said summarize when we went to the reader view, and that's an Apple Intelligence feature that summarizes. And Bob says, what are in the little crowns with the numbers next to some of the names in YouTube chat? I don't know. I'm not seeing any little crowns here. So it must be maybe a new feature. Maybe that means you subscribed. Speaking of subscribing, if you haven't, click on the subscribe button and the little bell so that you will know when we are live on YouTube, which is every Tuesday at high noon. So if you have any more questions, just type them in. I hope you enjoyed these little tips. I think at least some of you learned something. I know I learned some things as I was researching this. So if you think of anything, thank you for the thumbs up. If you think of anything you'd like to learn more about, my phone number and my email are coming up here shortly. And you're welcome, Deb. Very good. I'm glad we were able to help you figure out how to delete favorites. So have a great day. We'll see you next week at high noon for another Go for Lunch.